Hello everyone, welcome back to day 2 of the Books, Brains, and Bad Puns School YouTube Hop for 2024. This September prompt for today is no people, and I'm not playing along because there is in fact a person in my photograph, but it isn't the sole point of the photograph exactly. I am going to start with a sheet of white cardstock, and we're going to do a ton of ink blending. So let's get started. The first color I am using is old paper. And I blended a good amount onto that white cardstock so it goes almost to the center. And it does look blotchy on video right here, but it will, as it dries, kind of blend and fade into the paper very nicely. Next, I'm coming in with peeled paint. I'm not going as far into the cardstock as I did with the old paper, but I am making sure that the peeled paint and the old paper, say that 5 times fast, blend well together. The last color I'm going to use on my background is Forest Moss. This is going to be my darkest color, and I'm just putting it just around the edges. My plan is to match the greens that are in the Academia collection from 49th and Market, and I think I accomplished that very well. Last on my background, I want to add a little bit of splatter for some interest. This is Chroma Mist in the Noble Fur color from Brutus Monroe, and I'm just splattering it all around the edges. I'm going pretty close to the middle, but I'm not necessarily splattering into the middle where the white is. And then I'm going to set this aside and let it dry completely. While that dries, I'm going to go ahead and kind of go through my 6x8 paper pad and my scraps that I have. I don't necessarily want a lot of pattern paper on this particular layout. I just did all that ink blending, and I know that I just need a little place to kind of add my photo and then a little bit of a pattern to hold my title. So my layout for today does not have any journaling. It doesn't need to have any journaling. So this is a photo of Morgan. He's sitting and doing his school. You can see his lesson in the background, and on his lap is his dog, Snoopy. Now, I think that if Snoopy were still alive, there is a very strong possibility that I would have come to this page in my scrapbook layout and gone, do we really need to take this? Do we really need to scrapbook this photo? But, while 2018 me may have kind of just, said, we don't need to scrapbook this photo, 2024 me almost cried when I turned the page and saw this photo, because this little guy who was with Morgan through all of his schooling, or a good chunk of his schooling, died at the age of 13 in April of 2020. So sometimes it's good that you don't scrapbook your photos right away and let them simmer for a couple of years, because sometimes things change, and photos that you were maybe kind of on the fence about or kind of didn't really think you would have wanted to scrapbook, and you just kind of had them there just in case, suddenly have some pretty heavy meaning. So there's a little bit of info for you. I love this hexagon paper. It's going to get a little hard for me to use it. I've kind of keep putting it aside, because when you have a paper like this that has light and dark and light and dark, it can be a little hard, and you're going to see me struggle a little bit with my titling. At the end of the day, my title is fine, and in person, you can see it and read it, and it's okay. But as I was, when you look at the photos, it's going to look like my title kind of gets lost a little bit, and that's because this pattern paper is made up of lights and darks, and while totally cool, can also be a little hard when you want to try to put a title on top of it. I am going to basically go for this type of a page design. So I'm going to have the photo that is matted. Then I have the hexagon paper behind it. And then I'm going to use some of these strips. Both, I actually think I only end up using one of the laser cut strips, but I'm also going to use some of the washi tape borders that are in this collection too. Most of the background was dry. I just used a little bit of like a tissue. I think there were like 2 spots that hadn't dried yet because I had made the mist a little too thick. So I just went ahead and got that. So now it's time to kind of put all of these things together. So there is my photograph. There is that hexagon paper. I'm going to pull out the washi strips, and I actually end up using 2 of the washi strips down the side and then 1 of the laser cut borders. Initially, I had thought I was going to use more of the laser cut borders, but I ended up really liking the way these washi tapes looked on top of my mixed media background. You could see just a little bit of that color coming through the washi tape because it's not, it's just ever so slightly transparent, and I really like the way that looked. I'm going to play around with adding some more border strips, but I decide I don't need those and they're going to come off in a minute. And add my photograph to my layout as well as that pattern paper. And then I think the next thing I do is start to get to work on my title. I created and filmed this layout as soon as I was finished creating the one that was part of the hop for yesterday. I did them back to back. And I just wasn't in the mood to do any more of the homemade thickers. So I went through my sticker alphabets and I grabbed a couple from Pinkfish Studio that I thought maybe I could use. And this is what I meant. See, when I put this down here, the way the video is, it looks like you can't even read letters because of the way those hexagons are, dark and light, but you can in person. So my title is going to be Morgan's School Sidekick Bat Dog, because this sweet little guy would do this all the time. He would curl up on Morgan's lap. He would sit on Morgan's lap, and then he would throw his head back and just let his head hang there like that with his ears. So I one day snapped this photo and decided I might as well go ahead and scrapbook it in his school book. So close, almost works for the Stamptember prompt, or the Scraptember, not Stamptember, that's a whole other thing. The Scraptember prompt for today, which is no people. There is people in this photo, but they're not the main attraction. Let's go with that. I'm going to go through my die cuts here, see what I have in this die cut pack, and kind of audition a couple of things before deciding on this locker. It just seemed like the perfect spot, and it nestled in there really, really good. And then I'm going to put a little kind of auxiliary cluster up in the upper upper left-hand corner. And then I'm also, since my title says that it's Bat Dog, I put a little tag that says Dream Big onto the photo as well. Lastly, I am just going to dot some sequins around my page. All of these sequins are from Speaker Mom Scraps. This is the Bookish collection of sequins. This mix is actually made to coordinate with 49th and Market Academia, and it really, really does. It looks beautiful with this collection. And that is where we are going to call this layout all done. Be sure to run, don't walk, down to the description box and head over to the next amazing video on this hop. Hop through and get all of the school inspiration you will need to get your school photos finished and complete. Have a wonderful, wonderful day, and I will see you all again soon. Bye.